The Canadian wilderness stretched endlessly before him, a vast and uncharted expanse that seemed to go on forever. A vast expanse of towering pines and unforgiving terrain, where every step was a challenge and every breath a reminder of nature's raw power. The icy breath of the north whispered through the trees, carrying with it secrets of the ancient land. A symphony of creaks and groans echoed through the stillness, a haunting melody that spoke of the forest's age-old mysteries. This was a place untouched by time, where nature reigned supreme and the hand of man had yet to leave its mark. The air hung heavy with the scent of pine needles and damp earth, a fragrant reminder of the forest's enduring presence. A sense of isolation pressed in from all sides, a solitude that was both humbling and awe-inspiring. The silence was broken only by the occasional cry of a hawk circling high above, a sentinel of the skies. The sun, a pale disk in the sky, cast long shadows across the land, painting the forest in hues of gold and shadow. This was a place of raw beauty and untamed power, where the wild reigned supreme and the spirit of adventure thrived. It was a place where man was but a visitor, treading cautiously upon nature's domain, ever mindful of the delicate balance that sustained this untamed wilderness. John Hamilton, a man of wealth and privilege, yearned for adventure. He sought the thrill of the hunt, the challenge of conquering nature. His heart beat with the desire to test his mettle against the elements. He had travelled from a world of luxury and comfort. His destination, the untamed wilderness of northern Canada. He sought a prize worthy of his ambition, his goal to hunt the elusive caribou. He had heard tales of the caribou's majestic antlers. He imagined them mounted on his wall, a testament to his skill and courage. But the locals knew the dangers of the wilderness. They spoke in hushed tones of the unforgiving terrain. They whispered of the creatures that lurked in the shadows. John approached guide after guide. Each time he was met with the same response: shaken heads, grave expressions, warnings whispered like prayers. The guides spoke of a darkness that haunted the woods, a presence that chilled men to the bone. They refused his offers of money, their fear palpable. They would not risk their lives for any price. John scoffed at their superstitions. He dismissed their fears as the ramblings of primitive minds. He was a man of logic and reason. He refused to be deterred by their tales of the supernatural. His determination only grew stronger with each refusal. He would find a guide, even if it was the last thing he did. Section 4. DéFago's Curse. Just when all hope seemed lost, he found DéFago, a figure shrouded in mystery and legend. A solitary trapper living on the fringes of civilization, far from the comforts of modern life. DéFago was a man of few words, his silence speaking volumes. His eyes held a haunted look, a depth that spoke of ancient sorrows and untold stories. He too hesitated when John spoke of his quest, a journey fraught with peril and uncertainty. Yet something in John's unwavering resolve seemed to convince him, a spark of determination that couldn't be ignored. Perhaps it was the lure of the money, a tempting offer that promised a way out. Perhaps it was a deeper reason, a need to face the darkness that haunted him, a quest for redemption. DéFago agreed to guide John, setting the stage for an epic journey, but his voice was low, filled with a chilling warning, a premonition of the dangers ahead. He spoke of the Wendigo, a malevolent spirit that roamed the frozen wasteland, a creature of nightmares, a creature of insatiable hunger. It craved the flesh of men, a terror that knew no bounds. Its presence was heralded by bitter winds and whispers of madness, an omen of doom that chilled the soul. Section 5. The Wind's Fury. They ventured deep into the wilderness, their breath misting in the frigid air. The cold was biting, each step a struggle against the relentless wind. They knew the journey would be tough, but the reality was harsher than they had imagined. The forest grew denser, the trees closing in like silent sentinels. The towering pines seemed to watch their every move, casting long, eerie shadows that danced in the dim light. The silence was broken only by the crunch of snow beneath their boots and the distant call of a raven. It was as if the forest itself was alive, whispering secrets and warnings to those who dared to enter. They set up camp as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the snow. The sky turned a deep orange, then purple as night began to fall, bringing with it an even deeper chill. A sudden gust of wind swept through the campsite. It was fierce and unrelenting, as if the forest was testing their resolve. It howled like a banshee, whipping the flames into a frenzy. The temperature plummeted, and the once comforting fire now seemed fragile and vulnerable against the elements. Fear flickered in DéFago's eyes. He had heard tales of the wind's fury, but experiencing it was something entirely different. He stared into the swirling snow, his face ashen. The wind seemed to carry voices, whispers that grew louder and more insistent. The wind seemed to whisper his name, a low guttural sound that sent shivers down John's spine. It was as if the forest was calling out to them, drawing them deeper into its icy embrace. DéFago cried out, a primal scream that echoed through the trees. It was a sound of pure terror, a cry for help that seemed to be swallowed by the wind. He stumbled back, his eyes wide with terror. The forest seemed to close in around him, the trees and snow forming an impenetrable barrier. John reached out to steady him, but it was too late. The fear had taken hold, and DéFago was beyond reach. DéFago was gone, swallowed by the blizzard. The wind's fury had claimed another victim, leaving John alone in the unforgiving wilderness. The howling wind seemed to laugh, a sinister echo that promised more terror to come. John felt the icy fingers of dread grip his heart, knowing that the forest's malevolent spirit was far from finished with him.